Hi everyone, and welcome to episode number 100 of the Karen Knits podcast. My name is Karen, and I'm coming to you from South Central Pennsylvania, where I live, where I work, where I knit, and where I get into all kinds of other crafting shenanigans. Can you believe it's episode 100? I should have planned something. I don't know what, but some kind of celebration that I hit episode 100. Oh my goodness. Anyway, it is Saturday, February 26th, 2022, and it's a nice day out. It's cold. It's only around the freezing mark. Some blue skies, some white puffy clouds, but it looks like a nice day out. I haven't been out yet. I'm heading out in about a couple hours. I'm heading out to a friend's for the afternoon, and then out for a birthday party this evening. So all kinds of fun stuff planned for the day. So look, it's done. This is my hiberknitalong pattern. With that pattern, with that knit along, there were two patterns. This is a Stephen West thing. There were two patterns. There was a triangular shawl and a crescent shawl. And they had the similar design with the multicolor. I opted to do mine in only two colors. But there was Cable Trellis by Stephen West, which is this one. And then there was a second one that was kind of a asymmetrical triangle kind of shape that used a similar type of design. It was meant to use, I think, 4 colors. I opted for only doing 2 colors, and I love it. In the other patterns, or the other way people did them, was where I have the teal stripes. They used multiple colors. I think 3 is how it was written, but I opted for just doing 2. So the yarn I used, this was done in worsted weight, and I think I used a 5mm needle. I think that's what it was. And I used a bare yarn, and I dyed the teal myself. And that's the one where I had all kinds of extra dye, and I've got a bunch of fingering weight yarn in a little bit lighter teal because the dye was finally exhausting out of the water. Anyway, so I love it. I finished it on Thursday afternoon. I got the border took a while. It was done in a picot hem style, and I completely used 3 skeins of the bare, and I actually, when I was doing the hem, I used it until the white ran out, and then I switched back and I used what was left of the teal. And the teal I used almost 2 full skeins, 2 full 100-gram skeins. I have 7 grams of the teal left. I dyed 3 skeins, so I have a full skein left, which a full skein of the worsted weight, which I don't know what I'll do with that one. I'll figure out something for it later. But it's done. So let me show you this a little bit better, if I can. So it started with this half moon kind of shape, just done in garter. In some of them it's done in it looks stripy because it's using more than one color. Then it goes into these straight cables for a while, and then it expands into this trellis portion where the diamonds get a little bit larger as you go farther down the shawl. And then it ends with this picot trim. And I love it. I really do love this shawl. It's nice, it's squishy. I soaked it on Friday morning, pinned it out, just lightly pinned it out so that it was it smoothed out the cables and the stripy portions, and kind of smoothed everything out and made it look a little bit nicer. And I love it. So I didn't block it aggressively. I don't think it needed it. But I really do like it, and I'm so happy it's done. So now I'm back to one single whip. Now, when I saw you guys last week, now with this I actually have, for this episode I actually have a finished object and almost 3/4 finished object. Here's where I am with my Simple Skyp socks. Oh, who's this pattern by? Adrian Koo? If I have that wrong, I will have corrected it down here with the name of the pattern and the designer. I think it's Adrian Koo. I hope I'm not wrong with that. But anyway, I'm using, it's made with sport weight yarn, and I did the size medium, and I wanted to use up some of my sport weight yarn back there, the yarn I've dyed myself. And I was almost finished the first sock, and I was trying to decide if I wanted to keep them for me or give them to the hubby. And I finally decided the hubby's going to get them. I had him try it on when I had got to the point where I was thinking I was close to doing the toe decreases. They fit him perfectly, and they were perfectly ready to start the toe decreases, so there he is. So last week, when I showed you last week, I had the leg was done, the heel turn was done, or the heel flap and heel turn was done, and I can't remember if I had picked up the gusset stitches or I was ready to pick up the gusset stitches. Either way, so since last week I saw you, I have finished the gusset English, Karen. I have finished, I'm talking too fast, I'm rolling over my words. So I had finished, since last week, I've finished the gusset decreases, knit all the way down the foot, and then have done the toe decreases. And when I weighed out my yarn for the second sock, my scale is teetering between 49 and 50 grams. So I am crossing my fingers that I don't run out. If I do, I've already warned the hubby that the toe might be a different color. So, or the very tippy toe might be a different color. Let's hope I make it. I'm not 100% sure I will, but I suspect I will be playing Yarn Chicken by the time I get to the end. And I like the way this variegated dyed yarn that I did, I like the way it worked out. It's pretty busy, pretty flashy with the blacks and the dark browns popping out. And it does kind of obscure the pattern a little bit. So you can see, if you look real close here, you can see this little line of detail on in the rib portion. But you have to look pretty closely to see that detail on there. It doesn't show up if you're looking at it from it barely shows up. It picks up if you see the blue portions. But there's one sock complete, and the second sock is tangled up. Seriously, come on, sock. Sorry. I got all tangled. So the second sock, the leg is done. I've done the cuff, and I've done the number of repeats I want in the pattern down the leg. I am ready to start the heel flap on this one. So chances are when you see me next week, this will be done. It knits up pretty quickly. The sock only has 56, 54. It's got 50 some stitches around, and it's sport weight yarn, and I'm using, I don't remember what size needles. I think 2.75, that might be it. I think. If I'm wrong, I'll put a note up here what the actual size is, but I think it's 2.75. I don't think it's 3, I think it's 2.75. I will double check that for you guys. So it knits up pretty quickly. The pattern is I've memorized the pattern. It's a very straightforward pattern. It's a very fun pattern. I think I'd like to do this one in, I think it would be fun in a self-striping yarn too. Who knows? And I think it would work out really well doing it in a larger stitch count using fingering weight yarn, and my regular using like a 64 or 72 stitch count. I think would work well using fingering weight yarn. So I might make myself a pair of these in one of these yarns here, which are my own hand-dyed fingering weight. Those are the sport weight, and this little cubby fingering weight is over here. So I might do that in one of the variegated yarns in the fingering weight, because I do like the pattern. I like the way it looks. It's a fun, easy pattern to work through. Highly recommended. I might be one of the last people on the planet that has actually knit the Simple Skip socks. I'm also probably one of the only people on the planet that has not done Hermione's, however you say it. The girl from the girl from Harry Potter. Oh, someone's car alarm. Good, let's stop. Hermione's everyday socks. Oh, come on, guys, stop. The light just barely turned green. They're already honking at each other. Good grief. Patience, people. As I'm grabbing at them. Anywho. I have not yet knit those socks, and I think everyone else on the planet has. So, what can you do? So, that's my knitting content for this week. I really hope to have the Simple Skip socks done for next week. I really do think they will be done. I suspect I won't have a chance to work on them again till this evening. I'm heading out, as I mentioned earlier, I'm heading out to a friend's place for a couple hours this afternoon. Then once she's having a few friends over this afternoon from 2 to 4. And then we have an invitation to go to someone's birthday party dinner out to a restaurant this evening, well, late afternoon. They're meeting about 4:30. So I'll probably be home between 6 and 7, I'm guessing. So while the hubby and I watch a movie of some sort tonight, I'll get the heel flap done, and then I'll have some time tomorrow to get some work done on it. I suspect I should be able to have them done by Monday. Then I need to decide what is next. Sock Madness will be starting soon. I'm so excited. I love Sock Madness. Absolutely love, love, love Sock Madness. If you haven't noticed yet, I talk a lot about it in my podcast every spring when it's running. So when you see me next week, you will see the finished Simple Skip socks. I'm assuming they'll be done. They better be done by next week. Good grief. And so you'll see that, and you'll also see my progress on the qualifying round socks for Sock Madness. I will have that underway. So the registration for Sock Madness, I'll put a link down in the description below to the Ravelry page where it has all the information for Sock Madness, or the whole Ravelry group for it. So if you have any interest in it, that's the place to kind of follow some of the goings on there. It gets to be a very busy group once the competition really gets rolling. But what happens is during the month of February, it's open for registration. So everyone that is interested in joining Sock Madness this year it's Sock Madness 16. The 16th year they've done this, and I've been involved for, I think, 8 to 10 years. I've been doing Sock Madness for quite some time. And so it's Sock Madness 16, and so the registration runs during the month of February. Registration will close on Monday night sometime. I forget what time zone they decided was the ending point, but the registration will be open until the end of the day, Monday, the 28th of February. And then on so Sock Madness can start up anytime after March the 1st, or beginning on March 1st. So there is a potential that we can have a pattern come out on Tuesday. Probably won't come out till Wednesday or maybe Thursday. I'm crossing my fingers for a later on Tuesday starting point. But anyway, so the qualifying round, what they do with Sock Madness is everyone that registers for Sock Madness will be participating or competing in the qualifying round. So what they will do sometime on or after March the 1st is they will post the necessary supplies. They have in the group, they have in one of the threads, they have a list of what we need for all of the rounds, all of the bonus rounds during Sock Madness. We don't know which specific list of, I almost call it ingredients, what specific list of supplies we need. We won't know which round it's for. So what they will do is they will post the information on which of the materials we need. So it might list that we need 100 grams of a solid yarn, we might need so many beads, whatever. They will list what materials we need for the qualifying round socks. Once they post the specs, as they call them, for the qualifying round, within 48 hours of that time frame, the pattern will come out. What they do is they will email the pattern to everyone who has registered and has had their registration processed and approved, or I forget which exact terminology they used, but everyone that is officially registered will get the pattern for the qualifying round. From the point that the pattern drops, everyone has a full 2 weeks to knit the qualifying round pattern to the specifications in the pattern. So there will be certain specifications. For example, the cuff will need to be, and it varies from pattern to pattern, but there's going to be a certain things that everyone has to do. And basically this is done just to keep the playing field level. So everyone has to do a certain number of rounds for the cuff, and then they'll have to do a certain amount for the leg. It might be so many repeats of the pattern, it might be so many rows, whatever is specified in the pattern. The heel has to be done as specified. The foot and the toe decreases have to be done as specified. And then once we've completed the socks, we have to submit our link to our pattern page, or sorry, not our pattern page, our project page on Ravelry. And then the moderators will make sure that everything was done according to how it should be done. And then if it is done how it should be done within the 2 week period, I'm making this sound awfully complicated, I think. Everyone who does that will advance to round 1. Once that 2 week period, so if you take more than 2 weeks to finish, you don't qualify and you don't carry on into the official competition portion. Once you get to through the qualifying round, everyone that finishes the socks according to how they should be done during the qualifying round time period, they will be the moderators will place each of us onto a team. And then we will start, once everyone's on a team, after a certain number of days, it takes several days to get everything, all the wrinkles figured out. Once we get to everyone being on a team, they will again release the specs for round 1, and then within 48 hours the pattern will drop, and then at that point everyone is competing against the other members of their specific team. So typically what happens is that everybody who is on a team, there will be, I'm just making up rounding numbers and guessing numbers just for a starting point. Often there's upwards of 26 teams. They might have 50 people on each team, just to make up numbers. The first round, what happens is the fastest, maybe 40 people on each team advances to round 2. So the slowest 5 people aren't going to make it to the next round. And then for round 2, the fastest 40 on each team will compete against each other, and then maybe the fastest 30 people on each team will advance to round 3. And that continues on until there are only a small number of people on each team left. And then it'll eventually get down to the point where the fastest person on each of those teams will go into the final. And then that is the point where each team will compete against the other teams. For all the first rounds up until the final round, you're competing only against your team members unless you are the fastest on the second last round of socks, then you will go into the final. I have no chance, in my opinion, of making it to the final. I typically just don't knit fast enough, and I don't have enough free hours to get it done. I'm at work. I've got work things that have to get done that are more important. Yeah, they're more important. So I will typically make it through maybe 2, 3, 4 rounds. And it typically is usually round 7 is the final. I think I've made it to round 5 once. I typically am eliminated between round 3, usually round 3 or 4. But we shall see what happens this year. Who knows? It all depends on what the pattern includes, what the pattern is like, and we shall see. But I'm so excited to get started on Sock Madness, the qualifying round. So next week you will see what the qualifying round socks are like, because I should have those starting before next Saturday. Absolutely should have those starting before next Saturday. And other than that, I'm trying to decide. I probably will cast on something else. I might cast on or start that crochet cardigan that I'm eyeing up. Akia, I think that was what it was called. I might get that started, because that'll be a nice palette cleanser after doing socks. I want to do something completely different than socks, because the next 2-3 months are going to be sock intense. Maybe I will go through my sock yarn scraps, look at what I have as options for the materials required for the different Sock Madness rounds, and see what I come up with, and then see what's left of all my sock yarn scraps, and maybe use those up and make myself another granny stripe blanket. I might do that, because that's to me that's a nice, quick, easy project, and one I really enjoy working on. And it works up quite quickly for me, and it eats up a ton of scraps. So that might be, I might start that stay tuned. Come back next week and see what I've decided on. So otherwise, I think that's about it. Yeah, I think that's about it. I should get going. It's lunchtime now. The hubby's going to be home. He had to get a couple things done up at work before we head out this afternoon. And we have to be on the road in about an hour and 15 minutes at most to get to our friend's place for 2 o'clock. So it's just past noon now. Alrighty, on that note, I'm going to get going. And take care, everyone, and I will see you guys again in a week. Bye.